So how we found the space was after 3 years of being we were literally on a storefront, inside of a storefront, on a street corner. And that was really great for the first 3 years because we really wanted to create a highly visible location for events and for just people who were wanting to tune into the startup scene. We actually had these design principles that we were working from, which were that visitors to the space had to want to Instagram it immediately. It's very, millennial sort of approach, but that was the idea. But also the teams should have complete freedom to work within the space and feel like they can express themselves. So in the beginning, we walked through the space, we brought some friends of ours who were designers, really talented brothers actually, David and Jonathan Lorenz, through the space. They came up with some really beautiful renderings of what it could look like to honor the architecture that was already here, but also bring it into something that's a new generation. When Peter and AMDG got involved, what we really needed was somebody who could span that whole gap between all the people, all the voices in the room, and say, here's what we want to achieve, but here's where we are in reality.
One of the actually very cool parts about this project is, because you don't always work in an older building, you don't always work in a beautiful building. So when we think about this space and we think about where we started, we knew we had great architectural bones to work with. And that was kind of one of the things that we really, really wanted to celebrate as we looked at designing it, as we looked at what we removed, what we kept.
Column wraps became a very distinct feature of the space. They kept with the integrity of what had been here before, but also did the job of really lighting the ceiling to draw as much attention to that and as little attention to something like a really expensive light fixture or a chandelier or something to that effect. So it's really just trying to dial back to what's here and making that beautiful. The space that we call the cafe is sort of a cafe during the day, but it also easily becomes an event space where we can set up chairs auditorium style. We have stage lights and a PA system. It's been a really fantastic space for a size of say like 100 to 200 people, which is fantastic because it really focuses the energy. I mean, as soon as we have about 50 people in the room, we have a high energy event. And to have it centrally located allows people to sort of float around on the perimeter and float in and out, but that core space, that's really probably the reason we decided to rent the space, was that it had that hole in the middle of the donut where everybody could gather and could easily become a very high energy event.
This space, this place is significant on a number of things. Some of it has to do details, the materiality, the choices of materials, but it actually starts with just the volume. Majestic height doesn't normally get built nowadays in office space. Secondly, flooding natural light through these kind of gorgeous old Romanesque kind of arches, and then layered on it material details that you just typically can't recreate today. The ceilings, in terms of kind of the level of detail of terracotta and patterning, the flooring were just dynamite. So you'll see old tile, you'll see tile work, you'll see stone, and then you also see it just transition in existing concrete. We really actually stripped down to the bones and then really tried to put an emphasis on it and celebrate it. Projects that have to go super fast, that are under a very tight budget, or at least have budget parameters that are meaningful, and huge design, and people who want to kind of push the envelope and do something new. In a really old building that when you take it apart, you find all the mysteries.
Yeah.
Normally that recipe
not in a good way. Yeah.
isn't always, it's not easy. It is complex, it's difficult. And this project, it all came together. You do have to find the right builder, and in this case, Triangle knew the building, which was an enormous advantage. And they had a team of guys, you could tell they were gonna just get after it. Strong sense of ownership. And that is what we needed.
I think I don't know, it's one of my favorite things that I ever got to work on.
So at the end, how you measure success in architecture or fulfillment, hearing you say, this is one of the funnest projects in or things that you enjoyed the most is part of what gives me enormous joy. I mean, as an architect, right? To lead and be a part of a process, and for Paul to say that, it's just awesome. I mean, part of it is walking into the space and just kind of going, wow, this space turned out great. It's really rich hearing you say that, actually. It's
hey,
great.
money shot, you ready?
Yeah.
High five.